Okay, good afternoon, everyone. This is the February 15th meeting of the Affordable Housing Trust. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, this meeting is being conducted via remote means only. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with the right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town's website at www.northandoverma.gov. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so on their televisions by tuning to Comcast Channel 8, Verizon Channel 26, or online at www.northandovercam.org. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive recording of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. So with that, I will call this meeting to order. And just because we're attending remotely, I'll state everyone's first names, and if you could just let me know that you are present. So Laurie.
Here.
Richard. Dick.
Here.
Rob.
Present.
George.
Here.
Roger.
Present.
Chris is also present. And Laurie, I think you said that Joan was attending by...
She just asked me to send her the link to another email, so I think she'll be here shortly, but...
Okay. For now, we do have quorum. We also have a Maggie Cleary here with us. Good afternoon. So first agenda item is approving the minutes of January 18th, 2022. If everyone has had a chance to review, I'd like to ask someone to...
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Does anyone second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Laurie, yay or nay?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
And Chris is a yes as well, so unanimous vote to approve meeting minutes. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is an update on Fountain Drive and the PPC application. Laurie, I'm just going to hand the mic over to you, either you or Rob, whoever wants to take this over.
Okay, I can start if you want, Rob. I'll start with, because it's CPC application, is what I did. So like you said, Maggie is joining us for the meeting from the Housing Authority. We put together a application to the CPC, which I've been invited to go to. We've been invited to go to their meeting tomorrow night. I understand it's a little backwards, but I do want to get a vote from everybody on this application before we go to them tomorrow. But we were on a deadline, so we had to get it submitted. So basically, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong folder here. What we're doing is we're asking the CPC to fund $100,000 to use towards the design. There were three options presented, and after discussing with Maggie, it seemed like the best option was the one to add the 12 units with two similar, basically the same kind of building that's there, with 6 units in each. And so that's what we explained to the CPC. I don't know how much the design is going to cost. We requested $100,000 from CPC, and again, $100,000 matching from the trust, like we usually do. So the feasibility study, like I said, came out with 3 3 different plans. The other 2 wouldn't really fit in the neighborhood design. One was a big townhouse with garages underneath, and the other one was, I forget how many stories it was, maybe a 3-story. Is that right, Maggie? Yeah.
It was a 3-story.
Yes.
Big
So it would
building.
really stand out in that neighborhood. So from that perspective, it made the most sense to try to focus on the one that had the 2 properties that are similar at the one level. And then the only other thing is, I know we've talked about this in the past, is funding for a consultant, which I think that's next on the agenda. So Rob, do you have anything to add for the update?
I don't believe so. I think you did a good job summarizing the discussion. I didn't have anything else.
George, you're on mute, George. Unmute yourself.
Thanks. Does the 200,000 include hiring the consultant, assuming that it gets approved in town meeting? So, okay,
No.
so what are we getting for the 200,000? Just,
The design,
of the building itself?
yeah, buildings.
And the site work, George.
Yeah.
Engineering and architectural work, preliminary schematics to assess the viability of the project.
And then an estimated for construction costs. I
Yeah.
don't know if you said that.
What do you imagine that consultant for the financing would cost? Would that be on the order of 5,000 to 10,000, or is it more than that? Or
Be significantly more than that. If Maggie's group uses LIHTC, it would be a multiple year project. Typically, it's a large dollar ticket item just because there's so much. It's very labor intensive and time consuming.
so hundreds of thousands, 100,000?
Closer to $50,000 or $100,000 if it's successfully funded. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thanks.
If that's what we're, Maggie, is there another consultant? You're talking a potential funding consultant, right? With this.
Yes, it would be a consultant to help us obtain funding for the construction of the project. We would try to use low-income housing tax credits, or perhaps find different grant opportunities, things like that, financing through a bank. And the consultant would help us, put together those applications, find partners to work with, etc.
Maggie, I'm a little concerned that it looks like somebody's crashing our meeting.
Oh, yeah, this is my son. My husband was supposed to be home, but he's not here yet.
Has he been sworn in? That's awesome. We love
I think
having.
he's probably going to be taking the 5th. But on that note, Joan Fitzgibbons has also joined us. Good afternoon, Joan.
So, Chris, can I just to stick with the agenda, can we just get a vote on the CPC application? And for me to attend on behalf of the trust tomorrow night's meeting?
Yeah,
And then I think the next agenda item talks about the consultant, which will do more.
okay, I move that we accept this up, or that we endorse this application, and that we support the application. What words do you want, Lori?
Just so you approve the application to be submitted to CPC.
I move that we approve the application to the CPC as it was handed out before the meeting.
So moved.
Thanks, George. Do we
Second.
have anyone to second that?
I second.
Thank you, Joan. All right, so we'll take a vote. Laurie,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
and Chris is a yes. So unanimous vote to approve. Thank you very much, Laurie.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is a real good one. I think we have a definite need for more housing, and I've seen it with a friend of mine. I was just talking to Maggie about it earlier, how she waited for a long time, and she's so happy to be in the housing now. And I think it's something that we definitely have a need for, and this will really help bring that list forward. Gets a lot of people off that list. So good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Also, it satisfies one of the strategies in the master plan.
We can tick that box, George.
See that? You got something else to report back on now.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so on the topic of voting to fund the consultant for this project, did anyone have any other questions before we go to vote?
I do have a comment. I did reach out to the Home Consortium about which is actually the next agenda item, about the funds that we have. It cannot be used for this. We can, if we get through this process, and I believe ready for construction, then I think we can apply to Home as part of funding either their pool or maybe their ARPA funds. But for consultant and design, any pre-construction is not applicable to that, so we can't use it.
Well,
Which is irritating. That's the most at-risk portion of the development, and that's where the money could really be impactful. But it's not unusual, unfortunately.
well, it can be used for some of the soft costs at the beginning. You just have to have site control, and you have to have a plan with funding sources.
Right, but we don't have that.
Well, we
I'm
don't
not
have
saying
that.
it can't be used on any of it, just for this portion, to hire the consultant, it can't be used.
That's right. But
Yeah.
but when we have the consultant and he's got assuming he has a plan for all of the financing, in other words, how much does he think we can get from the low income housing tax credits? How much can we get from DCD, and so on and so forth? Then you can apply to Home for money, and that can include soft costs as well as construction. You just have to present a convincing article that you have to present a convincing argument that you're ready to start construction. I think technically it's usually stated as 6 months, but that's not rigidly enforced.
Well, I think there's a real need. I mean, I really don't think we're going to be able to get this project off the ground unless we have this. So I would make a motion.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say we don't need the financial consultant. We need him.
Yep. No, I wasn't saying that. I was just making a motion. So I'll make a motion to approve up to $100,000 to pay a consultant for the Fountain Drive project.
Laura, if I could, I don't think we'd need that much of a commitment up front. The figure I quoted before would be through the entire process.
Oh, okay.
The design review, project viability, should be $10,000 or $15,000 over 6 months or so, something along those lines. It certainly shouldn't be the full 100,000.
So should I amend that to say 50,000? Because what about to seek out the funding and all of that?
Well, it could be the proposal could be structured in multiple phases: one of viability, and then the application, and then the construction further on. But I would think $15,000 to $20,000 allocation up front would certainly cover any viability reviews.
Why don't we say up to 50,000 just to be safe in case it doesn't overrun?
Right, because I'm just wondering, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, and Maggie, if you need to jump in on this too, wouldn't it be better to get the consultant who's working on funding right at the get-go, not just the feasibility, but then, start working on finding the funds so that we know we can move forward once we get past town meeting, the design phase, if it gets approved, through CPC?
Right. I'm sorry. I was under the impression that's what we're talking about here.
So that's the 10 to 15? I'm just confused at what it covers.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Perhaps my wording was sloppy. The consultant, most of the consultants I deal with won't help with the design phase, the actual technical with the architect and the engineering, and even hesitate to go in front of the zoning board. But they jump in immediately on trying to sketch out the numbers, put a pro forma together, try to make sure the numbers are viable. So we'd have the third party technical people on one side and the consultant on the other side, kind of working together to try to come up with a viable application.
Oh, okay. So we already put 100,000 into the design that would cover sort of that portion. So do you think 25 would be more than enough? 25,000 for this consultant?
Certainly at this phase, I would think there'd be enough. And if it needs to be bumped, we can revisit it. We'd also probably want to try to talk to a land use attorney, potentially, to understand exactly what the implications are and what we have to do and what hoops we have to jump through. And that's a viability issue too, I think.
That's a good point.
Land use, is that what you said? Land use attorney?
Yeah.
Right, land use attorney, to see if we can do what we want to do.
So it seems like we might be talking about more than just one consultant.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so let's scratch that whole other stuff. I'm gonna make a motion not to exceed 50,000 for use of hiring a consultant and any attorney review we may need.
I'll second that.
Right, perhaps third-party technical reviews necessary, something along those lines.
Okay.
Okay. Before we vote on that motion, I guess I imagine not much before our next trust meeting. But will that be enough to happen in the next month? Because I imagine if we were to have another trust meeting, it'll be sometime mid-March. I just want to make sure the timing is okay in the context of funding.
Yes, I'm sorry. If my experience has been that it'll be plenty of time. It'll be a relatively slow-moving process. Somebody will have to try to talk to a number of different consultants and check their availability. They will be very busy, and it'll move slowly here out of the gate. But 60 to 90 days probably before anybody's really ready. Well, it'll move slowly out of the gate.
Okay. Thank you, Rob. So with that, we'll do a vote. Laurie?
Yes.
No? Thank you, Dick.
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Joan?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
And Chris is a yes, so that's a unanimous yes to support the funding of consultants. Thank you. So related topic, Lori, discussion and potential vote about using $49,865 for 2021 home funds and the grant application for pool funding.
So the pool funding piece, I don't think we have to address because we're nowhere near that. That was my thought with Fountain Drive, but we'll talk about that when we get closer to actually having after listening to what our consultants have to say. But the 49,865, since we can't use it on Fountain Drive, I was going to suggest we allocate it to the grant to Greater Lawrence Community Action Council again for the rental assistance program. And I might as well merge in the next agenda item. They have depleted the funds that we have given them, and there's still a need. There are 12 people, I believe, total, which is more. Yeah, so we have 3 clients that used up the rest of the 60,000 that we allocated last year, and they have 7 more that have applied. So there is a need, and my thought is, if we don't have anything else to use this on, we lose it and it goes into the pool funding. So we might as well, unless someone can think of something else, use it for something that we've been doing for the last 3 years now. That has, been helpful, especially the way things have gone over the last 3 years.
So, Laurie, how long would we project the 49,000 would?
I think because they already have a waiting list, it's gonna, once they get those people in the system, it'll go right away.
Okay.
So I would just say, based on that 3 years experience, is there an average support for 12 months for one family?
It's probably around $12,000.
Okay. So this 4,900 is really only going to support 4 families, and there's 7 that are waiting.
Right. And I guess Raft is still an option. So the reason why the money lasted for so long is they sent everybody to Raft first. And now they're just getting into our 60,000 that we gave them as a grant.
So it seems like the question before the trust is really, can we think of any other purpose to use the home funds? And it seems like, there's an immediate need for the $49,000 that could be utilized for rental assistance.
Yeah.
That seems like a good idea, at least to me.
I agree.
I would agree.
Well, we have the immediate need, and it's worked out fine in the past. I'd like to continue this.
I move we approve using the town's home funds for continuing the rental assistance program administered through GLCAC.
I second.
Thank you, Joan. Okay, so we will vote on the motion. Laurie?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Joan?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Chris is also a yes, so unanimous vote. Thank you very much, everyone. So next topic, which Laurie has already broached, is an update on rental assistance program. It seems like, Laurie, you're saying that there may be a greater need for funds for rental assistance.
Yeah, I was just trying to look at the, she sent me a spreadsheet. I want to see what the total was on there. If I can find it. No. That's not it. Sorry, I can't. I thought I had printed it for the meeting, but I can't find it. And Google is very slow today.
Chris, I don't know if we need to have Maggie hang on with her son there for this part of the discussion. Do you, Maggie? Would you like to, if you want to participate? Or?
Good point, Rob.
Unless anybody else has any questions, I'll probably hop off. But it was
It's like you got your hands full, literally and figuratively.
Hi. It was great to see your faces though, and I've been working closely with Laurie the past few weeks, and I got the opportunity to speak with Rob, which was great. So I look forward to working with you all more.
Thank you for your time, Maggie.
Thank you.
Bye.
Rob, thank you for that.
She had that's a very well-behaved
Yeah.
young boy she has there.
I didn't
She was on mute the whole time.
not a peep out of him until he said goodnight. Well, Rob, I'm really happy to see this project moving along. I mean, seems like now it's kind of a done deal, or up until now it was always tentative. Well, we might do it, or they might do it. There's
That
still
seems like-
gaps in information. It seems like, well,
It seems like Maggie and her board are fully supportive of the concept, so it'll be it's a nice piece of property, and it might fit together well over there.
yeah.
Thank you for all the work you're doing for that as well, Rob.
Were the other two alternatives, were they also for 12 units, or was the really tall building for more units
No,
significant?
they're all for 12 units. One was a 3-story building, and the second option was the 2 1-story, similar to what's laid out there. And the third option was a 2-story with parking underneath, similar to what's next door.
Yeah.
And the thought was there were discussions back and forth on the engineering, the cost, the neighbors' reaction, what might fit better. And as Lori said, the perception was that the neighbors might object more to something that's out of character with what's there now. So Maggie made the decision to try to move forward with the 2 1-story buildings, similar to what's there now.
Yeah.
The new units would have to be larger than what's there now, because those no longer are the construction standards. So it would be, I think she said, about 50% larger.
So how big is that?
Don't quote me off the top of my head, but I thought she had said there were 300 to 400 existing, and the current has to be 600 for the programs, the existing LIHTC programs, et cetera, for 1-bedrooms.
So 600 square feet for a 1-bedroom.
In that range,
Yeah.
George. I don't have the numbers direct.
I'm just trying to get magnitude.
That's not a lot of space, 600 square feet,
Yeah.
No.
but it's enough.
It's bigger than what the current units are.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find the spreadsheet. I don't know if it was something else, but were you thinking you wanted to allocate more funds to them, or?
Well, I thought that was what we were setting the table for. It seems like there's still a need.
Well, we can bring that up at the next meeting. That wasn't my intention. I just wanted to not lose the home funds.
Oh. Okay. So yeah. I mean, if it's about funding more for the rental assistance program, it might be a better idea to first get the treasurer's report, which we didn't ask for, and so for maybe the next meeting we could do that and have a discussion. But
Yeah,
preliminarily, it seems like there's still a demand for more money.
Yes, and I can get the information from them, because the 7 people that were left, they're all applying to RAFT. So they haven't used their RAFT benefits yet.
Okay.
So they may not need it after that, but they might, or somebody else may come along. So I can ask them before the next meeting if there is a need to please provide us with information on exactly what the need is. But for now, those other 7 people are being sent to RAFT.
Okay.
Hey, Lori, I'm sorry. Chris's mention of the treasurer report reminds me I haven't received it, and I think it was because I changed my email address, and I don't have. Is it Lynn Savage that sends the?
Yeah, I can copy you on and give her your new email.
Yeah, could you please, just so I can follow up with it? She's probably been sending it off to my old email address.
She might have been, or she's in training someone too, so it's probably not at the top of her list, but I'll let her know you have a new email.
Thank you. I'm glad Chris didn't ask for a report, because I was woefully ill prepared, Chris. I'm sorry.
No worries. But it seems like it's a good agenda item for next time.
Okay.
It's a slippery slope.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, actually too, it's better to bring up next time too, when we have a treasurer's reports, because we kind of are sort of earmarking a majority of our money with this Fountain Drive project. So might want to see where we're at.
Yes. And there hasn't been much activity the last couple of months, so.
No. No.
I know a land attorney, if anybody is interested. His name is Matt Ginsberg, and he lives in North Andover, and I don't know who he works for, but he is a land attorney. And, very nice person. Be someone nice on this board, to be honest with you.
I'm sorry, he's somewhat nice on this board?
Yeah, he would be a good
Oh,
person
it'd be,
for it.
I see, good.
But if if you want, I can reach out to him or whatever. Let me know when it's time.
Okay, we can let Maggie know about that, Lori. Is that the best approach on that? Not quite sure how she's going to go forward. She's going to be looking around for, I assume she'd be looking around for the technical support on the project. So,
Yeah, I would imagine they have to go through some kind of procurement process. For the consultants. But that is good to know. And maybe Joan. I mean, I don't know what kind of procurement process the housing authority has to go through, but
Just a thought.
yeah. Looks like Laurie is frozen, so I don't know if she can hear us or if she's saying anything. But we have finished up all the agenda items in record time. 34 minutes.
Wow, very good.
So
it's all the leaders.
It's very efficient running of a meeting.
Yeah, it's all you're doing, Chris.
we were asked to wrap it up by 6:30 because there is a planning board meeting at 6:30, and I think they needed to reserve the airtime for that.
Yep.
But yeah, we're at the end. I think we could leave a few minutes and just discuss housekeeping for the next meeting. I think we'll still be able to fit in one more meeting before the end of the remote meeting authorization. As of now, I think it's until either the end of March or middle of March. So suppose as we get closer to the date, I'll just reach out to folks. But I think it probably makes sense to have our next meeting to be remote as well, as long as the legislation allows us to. As I understand, there might be some pending legislation that might be permitting a slight extension to remote meetings, but I think my assumption is the next meeting we have is going to be remote as well.
Yeah, Chris, I would be in favor of that.
I'm away the week of March 21st. I won't be available.
Okay. Did you say March 21st?
Yeah, that entire week I'm away. March 21st to the 26th.
Okay. I am going to be out for a few days previous week.
If you guys have a quorum, I'm perfectly fine with you holding the meeting. I think we should continue to keep this momentum going. So if you guys have a quorum and I'm the only one that can't make it, please have the meeting.
Okay, thanks, Dick.
Chris, I'm wide open in March, so anything works for me.
Yeah, same here.
What
Me
about
too.
March 16th? It's a Wednesday, the week before Big is away.
I'm good with that.
Good for me.
That'd be fine with me.
I'm in.
Okay. And George, how about your?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
works for you too? Okay. So we'll put in the calendar for 5:30, March 16th. We don't have the benefit of getting Laurie's input on her availability, so I guess we'll just subject to her availability. But if she's free, then we'll meet on March 16th, 5:30.
March 15th is not available?
no, you said 16th, didn't you, Chris?
Correct, but
Yeah, March 16th.
When?
1/6. It's a Wednesday.
Yeah,
right. Tuesday's not available?
For me, unfortunately, not.
Okay, because I know that Laurie likes it when it's a Tuesday because they work Tuesday nights.
Oh,
Mm.
Well, if she has an issue, she'll let you know, believe me.
yeah. Okay. Well, tentatively, we'll say March 16th. Joan, thank you for that.
All
And, we'll see if we can nail it down. If not, we'll choose another date. But besides that, does anyone want to move to adjourn?
No, let's just stay here.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay. So Joan,
Yes,
Rob,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
I thought you might abstain. Dick? Sorry, Dick, was that a yes?
Yes, so I didn't hear your name. You froze for a second. Yes.
Oh, sorry. Roger,
Yes.
Chris is also a yes. Laurie's not here, so she's not going to be able to vote. So meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Thank you very
Very
much.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
For the rest of the month, Roger, have a great time.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Dick. Thank you.
Yeah, have fun, Roger.
where you going, Rob?
Thanks. We're heading to Sedona for a 10